Hi gang, so we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of changing our fork oil out on our suspension, even shocks as well. These components are working really hard. If you're out running desert race, whatnot, you're literally beating the crap out of these systems. I actually had the chance, I was talking to someone and someone had sent them down a wrong path and they told them that fork oil or shock oil never had to be changed. And we had to talk to them a little bit about understanding why we need to do that, but I wanted you to see a good visual example of some of the fork oil that comes out of these. I know this particular client, he actually brings his in once a season. He's out doing desert racing and he just wants to make sure things are good. He doesn't have any fork seal leak issues, but we're going to take a look and see where the fluid's at. It's going to be kind of a gamble for us when we pop this open and take a look at it. And I'll show you some examples of some clean fluid too, so we can get a good idea on that. I literally have pulled these apart, not this particular shock or fork, but I've pulled systems apart and they've had that fork oil in there so long it looks like liquid graphite. So it's not going to run through the valving very well. It's really going to be fighting in the whole system. So I'm going to take that out and we come over here. We're just going to dump this fluid out and see how dirty we are in this. Hopefully he's not too bad. Yeah, you can definitely see it's got a kind of a gray tinge to it. It's typically this stuff will look a nice bluish color. So there's a lot of crud in here. You can actually see it pouring out into the drain pan. So this is a fork that's being serviced once a year. So if you've had your bike hanging around, you're out riding it hard, and you've never changed your fork oil, fork or shock oil, I would definitely recommend doing that. It's going to help your system operate the way it should instead of fighting itself inside, and you can actually do some damage to some of the valving in it, really tear stuff up. You'll start creating fork seal leaks, that type of thing. So definitely something you want to keep on tap on your regular schedule maintenance that you're going to be doing with your bike. I like to take care of mine at the end of the riding season. Now I've gone out and just really worked the suspension. Okay, I'm going to be parking it for a bit, can be hanging out on a stand. I'm not going to worry about it. Then that's the time to handle it and get all those little features taken care of. If maybe you're wanting to do some different valving in the system, that's a great time to do it too. In fact, if you look up on the wall here, all those little drawers are all filled with different shims, and we can actually customize valve stacks for you and just really customize the bike to where it's your bike and you're riding your bike and it's working good for you. Some things I want to talk about pretty quickly on just fork seals and some of the differences on fork seals. It's always a little easier pocketbook wise to go to the cheap route, but unfortunately going the cheap route can actually cost more money for you. There's some outfits out there that do produce fork seals and they're cheaper. But in our experience, a month later down the road, you're dealing with a fork seal leak again, just because the materials aren't as pliable, that type of thing. One thing that I actually like, a product I like to use, I either go with the factory fork seal setup. These are basically, you're going to see your oil seals here. These are going to be your dust seals here. And then these are your guide rings that you can actually set, and you can gauge on how your suspension's working for you via preload setting or your compression and rebound, more your compression and preload. But this is going to tell you how much that compresses down, and that's going to give you an idea how much of that suspension you're using. If you don't have, maybe you're a different brand of motorcycle, you're not running the WP suspension, you can actually ask your shop to put O-rings on there, and that way it's on there and it's just as good. So plus it looks pretty trick too. It looks like someone's actually done some custom work to your bike. So that helps out. Comes with the factory KTM fork seal kit on that. Now the other thing that's pretty trick on these is the factory KTM fork seals and SKF, they make they're making the KTM fork seals. The reason I prefer using the SKF fork seals is because they have less stiction on your suspension. So once you start really kind of fine-tuning your suspension, you can really feel it. I've had some aftermarket fork seals to where you can actually feel the whole system juddering up and down just because it's not sliding cleanly on that fork as well. So the SKF ones, they're a low friction, so are the factory KTM. They're, like I mentioned, they're built by SKF. So low friction, you're gonna be feeling more of your valving and how your preload is set up versus fighting that stickiness on your front fork. So don't go with this cheap stuff, gang. I know it's gonna feel a little better in the pocketbook, but it's definitely not gonna feel right out on the suspension. Now, one thing that we do on the bikes, so when we do the bolt-up assembly on the bike, is we do some trickery stuff on making sure that everything's lubricated proper, everything is torqued proper, nothing's binding up. Because if you're actually over torquing or just the bolt-up system is kind of binding the forks, then you're actually going to be fighting the suspension through that. So if you can get everything dialed in, everything bolted up properly, and we do some secret stuff here that we don't really talk about and we use just to help our clients have a better process, but we're not going to give all our secrets away, obviously. A lot of good shops do these processes. We're just not going to throw them out in the wind and let everyone know about them. But we can definitely help you out in these situations. So hopefully that helps out, gang. Hopefully it gives you an idea on a concept on just having good clean fluid. In fact, if I pour this out, we can kind of see kind of an idea on how clean. See how crystal clear that looks? That's what we want to see, not all that dinginess. And this one was actually pretty good. We can make it better though. So hopefully that helps out, gang. Maybe get your head thinking about your suspension, even your shock as well. It's a good idea to get that fluid changed out. And if you need some help on that, give us a shout here at the Edge Power Sports. Like I said, you can look us up on Facebook, find us on Instagram or YouTube, and or you can just give us a call or stop by. Hopefully see you soon, gang. Thanks. Bye-bye.